Hey everyone, I'm here today with Sinnamon Munroy, girls basketball coach, and let's just talk about traveling, not in the basketball sense, traveling around the world, foodie, basketball, passion. Let's get to it. Hey everyone, I'm here with Coach Sinnamon Munroy. She's the girls basketball coach at PMA in Downey, California, and previously was head coach at Mayfair High School. Let me just get right into something really good here. You, in your past, were a legitimate 3-point shooter. Is that what I'm meant to understand? Like at one point, you led the NCAA in percentage?
I did I want to say my junior year.
Okay.
I led the nation in Division One in 3-point field goal percentage. It was like 49 point something,
I'll help you out. I'll
49.5.
help you out. Yeah. I wrote it down somewhere here. 49.6. Don't short yourself.
49.6
49.6 in 2003 NCAA 3-point, uh, almost 50%. That's pretty legit. That was a good year.
was. It's actually a really funny story about how I found out about it.
Okay.
I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know. So we were in Denver, and we were playing University of Denver, and my point guard, we're downstairs that morning eating breakfast, and I guess it was like the final day where the final like list to come out. And so I'm down there getting my waffles. I'm not a morning person. I'm not a morning person. And my head coach at the time was like, we would eat breakfast at like 7:30. It was crazy. And yeah, 7:30 is very early for me. It still is.
It's when you're supposed to eat breakfast, but that's cool.
I was 20, 21 at the time. So,
Fair enough.
you know. And my point guard, Mari Sanchez, and she's like, congratulations. And, they're sticking papers in my face. And I'm just looking at her like, what are y'all talking about? Like, my teammates are hype. My coach comes over. She's hype. And I'm just sitting there with the waffles, like, I don't know what y'all are talking about. And I finally look at the paper and I'm just like, oh my gosh. I'm just sitting there like, how you stare at something like, is that what? Yeah,
Right.
that's me.
Yeah.
And it was cool. They did like this whole, I got a plaque, and they did a whole like presentation at the halftime of one of our football games. So it was a really cool experience.
That's awesome. So that
It was
was
a really cool experience.
and you went to school in New Mexico State, correct?
Correct.
All right. So they have it on their website is that you were the NCAA 3-point champion. So
I like that. I like that. Let's keep it. And
let's go with it.
I'm not gonna say how many years ago it was, but
I actually did say how many, but we're just going to leave that
oh, did
alone.
okay.
Yeah,
We're just
we're,
nobody caught it. Nobody
they
caught
want to
it.
go back and listen to this again. More power to them. Okay.
Yes, let's go with
You if as far as I can tell now, New Mexico State has not kept up on their stats. They haven't gone back. um I couldn't find it past, but somebody, let's see, you finished your career with 1,344 points. Sounds like most of that came in that junior year.
that.
um
Probably.
and I believe it was, I think you're currently 11th. Does that sound about right? 11th in their school history, or do you not pay attention and care?
Not pay attention and care is a
Okay.
very
Okay.
strong sentiment. But I know that I'm in there somewhere, and I think for to be the very young old age that I am and have graduated as many years ago as I did, I'm not telling on myself. I think it's awesome to still, to still be in there. So it's kind of cool. My current players, they sometimes I tell some of my stories just to kind of motivate them and just kind of tell them a little bit about, not very big, I'm not very tall, I'm not 6'5" or anything, and just kind of telling them like, hey, it's possible. And so I guess they didn't believe me and they Googled me. So they came back and they were like, Coach, so you did this and you went here. And I was just like, yeah, it was a thing. It was a thing. I'm not just making up stuff, I promise.
It was all real.
So yeah, I was there. I experienced it and everything.
That's
So yeah,
excellent.
that's
Awesome. Now, let me ask you a question. So, in my 20 years coaching girls' high school sports, and then working with a number of coaches, male, female, what I think I've found is high level elite female athletes have a hard time connecting at the high school level with their athletes, because at the high school level, you get the mixture of the diehards, and then you get the girls who are there for the social atmosphere, or you get the girls who are there because they love basketball, but they're not planning on using it and going beyond anywhere. And I find that some of the more elite athletes, and I'm going to throw you in there, you're an elite athlete, you played
thank
Division
you.
One, 3-point champion at one point in your career. Is it hard to understand these girls, or do you, one, do you see what I'm saying? Have you seen that with other coaches? And then two, um, you relate well. So I guess I better say it's not ask you, is it hard to? You do relate well with your athletes. So how do you do that? Because their mindset is different than your mindset. Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Great. No,
Okay.
no, absolutely. And thank you for that. Um, I think the way we tend to break it down is we have this thing where we say, there's basketball players and then there's kids who play basketball. And if you're not at the elite schools, the Edewandas, the modern days, let's be honest, for the most part, you're getting a core group of kids who either just play basketball or they love the sport, but they've never really been coached. And I think for me, I was never one of those, like, I think growing up, I wasn't one of those elite, basketball players, so to speak. Not initially. It was something that I really had to work my way towards. And so I think with that being said, it's easier for me to relate to the kids who, just aren't 6'3", 6'4", who don't just have the genes, who aren't super fast, who don't jump out of the gym, and who genuinely just maybe even love the sport or just want to work and just need some help getting to where they need to be. And I think a lot of times, I'll be honest, I see myself in those kids. I was fortunate enough to have great coaches. My high school coach, Damian Scribner, still keep in touch with him. Phenomenal guy. I was fortunate enough to have coaches that really, really pushed me and got the best out of me. And even times where I doubted where I was going and what I was capable of, that they gave me that extra, kick in the pants. Now,
Yeah.
granted, you can't really give kids that same kick in the pants now,
It's a
but
little different.
it's a lot different. But I think, I try to be a combination of two of the best coaches I ever had. One of them was my high school coach, who was always the emotional guy. He was always going to, pat you on the back. He was going to tell you to pick your head up when you struggled. And my college coach, who was a firecracker, but she knew how to get the best out of you. She could get under your skin like nobody's business. Nobody. She was gonna find out every little thing about you and figure out how to use it to motivate you and how to push you. And I think I just try to be a combination of that. And then I think also because we have so many kids who they're not going to go play after high school. They're
Right.
not. They don't want to, and that's fine. But I always tell my parents, I'm like, hey, if they want to go play after high school, they'll definitely be prepared. And if they don't, I want them to look back at their high school experience and be like, you know what? I didn't play afterwards, but I love my coach. I had a great experience. I still keep in touch with a lot of my kids. We just played Mayfair, maybe last month sometime, and we had like 11 alumni show up from 2015 to 2024. So, actually, I'm sorry, 2016 to 2024. So that's, I think that's kind of a great testament to what we, try to build and just the relationship we try to build with our players.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent testament to what you offer and how those young athletes take to what you're teaching. What you and Coach O are teaching, and as we've talked before, where you go, Coach O goes, and so you want to tell us a
Absolutely.
little about your assistant coach? She's amazing too.
So Coach O is, I'm not even gonna butcher her name because we've known each other since high school, but um, I'm gonna try just because I want to make sure she gets the credit she's
Give
due.
it fair, yeah, give it a fair shot.
Um, Omologo Udeze. She is married now, but I'll be honest, I will totally butcher her new last name. But she was a All-American post player at Harvard Westlake, probably one of the coldest drop steps I've ever seen. And I try to tell the kids about it now. One of them actually talked trash to her the other day, and I just sat down and was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good." But got a Division I scholarship to Fresno State. Again, we've known each other since high school. We actually ran into each other at work. I had just got the job at Mayfair, and we wound up just in the same classroom with the same group of kids. And I just kept staring at her. Like, I know her. Well, we haven't seen each other since high school, and we were kind of both looking like, why do I? And we got a minute, and I walked up and I said, her name, and she said, Cinnamon. And I was like, yeah. So, I got this. I just got a head coaching job at Mayfair, and I'm looking for an assistant. And she said, I'm in. Call me. And I was like, no, but I'm serious. I'm really gonna call you. I'm really gonna call you. And she was like, no, call me. So that was 2015, and here we are. I really call her the director of player personnel. It's really kind of a running joke, but it's very apropos to what she does. A lot of times when people come in and they see the behind the scenes, I think people just assume because I'm so active and involved that I do everything. And I tell them I do not. I do not. And this program, any program, does not run without Coach O. She's, I can pull a kid out of a game and, have some choice words with them, from the scores table to the bench. And I'm giving her the eye, like, talk to your kid. Talk to your kid. And she's going to nod, and she's going to go down there, and she's going to do what needs to be done. And she's going to walk back up and say, Coach, they're ready when you need them. And she's going to remember everybody's birthdays and their mom's birthdays and, buy flowers if somebody passed away. And she's just so involved with that emotional side. And I can't even really take credit for even all of that development side, because that is Coach O through and through. But she did come with me. It was funny, even when I took over for the boys last year, and people were like, oh, I got a lot of calls like, oh, you need an assistant? Oh, you need... No, we're good. Is Coach O coming with you? Absolutely. It's a package deal. You don't get one without the other.
Right. And she was assisting for the girls' side at the time.
She was. So
That's
she was
funny.
pulling double duty with me last year. She was literally going to the girls' practice and then staying for the boys, and going to the girls' games and staying for the boys. And, I was kind of supporting too. So we spent a lot of time in the gym together for the last, 6-7 weeks of the season. But yeah, just definitely phenomenal. Now she's a mom. So, her daughter's just like mine, is in the gym with us, running around, yelling at the kids, teaching them to play defense. So we've tried to. She does a better job than we do, actually. But yeah, I cannot say enough good things about her, honestly.
That's awesome. She's amazing. And for those that are listening that don't know, again, with other people I've talked to and interviewed, I was the AD that hired Cinnamon and apparently Coach O, and brought them on, and they are two of my favorite coaches and two of my favorite people.
Mm-hmm.
They're amazing. They love the kids. They love the programs that they're in. You mentioned that you coach the boys. Now, I did some research and I can't find information about how many, if ever, a female has coached high school boys basketball in Southern California. I would assume at some point there might have been one or two others.
Sure.
But you took over a program, Mayfair High School, that's a famous program. It's got good recognition for being a public school, smaller public school. And you took over for, you said, 6 or 7 weeks. What was that like? What was some of the things that you experienced sitting down, coaching boys? You had to win them over. They had to understand that basketball is basketball, and just because you're a female doesn't mean you don't know basketball. So what was that like, jumping into that? Your athletic director at the time asking you to do something crazy like that.
My athletic director at the time, it was very unexpected. And I've, coached boys, dabbled, travel ball. here and there, I'd always said that, before it was all said and done, that I would love to have a group of boys just to see, what I can do with them, just to, roll the dice and see what happens. And I was at home. I had actually taken a year off just to kind of um, regroup. Honestly, I had just got married, and just the grind of wedding planning and being a head coach, at least one that's fully engaged, I just felt like it wasn't really fair to my kids for me to not be 110% locked in. So,
Right, right.
I was taking a year off, which, as we know, didn't happen. And,
A
my
year-ish, not really.
months-ish, we'll say months-ish.
Okay.
Um, and so my previous athletic director, calls me and was like, hey, we just kind of need you to fill in for a game. And I was just like, okay, I got you. Just, on the strength of my relationship, I kind of like him a little bit. He's all right. And I was like, yeah, no problem. I got you. Don't worry about it. And coached that one game, if you want to call it that. And, it turned into an opportunity to finish out the rest of the season. And I was kind of caught off guard, and I was like, whoa, okay, well, okay, this is happening. It took a few days over the weekend, and I got a phone call, I think Monday or Tuesday, and I just jumped head in. I think boys with a female head coach was a little different because I think, let's be honest, what teenage boy is going to listen to, no matter how old we are, I'm still a girl. I'm still a girl.
Right.
And as a girl, I can't possibly be as good as them or know as much as them. And, it was a little rough at first because and I'm a very no nonsense, so to speak, type of coach. I'm very old school, and there's just certain things that I'm not willing to tolerate. Boys, girls, private school, public school. And so it was some cultural things I think we had to work through. And I think the hardest part was during practice, where every time I opened my mouth, it was, oh, my travel ball coach said this. Oh, my travel ball coach said this. Oh, well, I was taught this. Well, I was taught that. And I literally got to the point where I just had to start asking, well, how's that working out for you? How's it working out for you? Because I'm watching you get blown by, or I'm watching you get, whatever it is, whatever the negative consequence of you not doing it the way I asked you to do it. And then one day, and I very rarely do this, and I walked in and I said, you know what? Before practice, I said, since you guys are convinced that I clearly don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm just here for, good looks and charming personality, apparently. And one of the JV coach, and, he was great. He came over, he stayed to help me out, and he was great. We have a great relationship. And he said, are you going to do an accolade check? An accolade rundown? I said, I absolutely am. I absolutely am. Because y'all are convinced that they just pointed in the stands and was like, yeah, she looks okay. Yeah, come on. Yeah, she's about the right height. Yeah, come on. And they were just kind of like, yeah, I do this. I really do this. And I think after that, they were kind of like, it won a few of them over. And then I think just, had to suit up. We had to, somebody said they could outshoot me. So then that was the whole thing before practice one day. So, it just took, it was a change for them. Also because, it was a lot that went on last season for them as well. So,
Right.
I think ultimately, it worked out. We ended up, I think we came in third in league and still ended up, going to the playoffs. We lost in the first round to a very good Rolling Hills prep team, but, I enjoyed my experience. I can honestly look back and say I'm glad that I did.
It was amazing. I think that what I saw was a lot of the parents, and mostly the moms and grandmoms, were ecstatic and bought in right away because they've raised these boys, and they know that these boys need to show respect to women. They know that they're capable, and they were like, this is a great opportunity for my son to learn. And they recognized, maybe not right away, but within a very short period of time, they recognized that you knew what you were talking about. There's not a lot different between girls basketball and boys basketball. Maybe the pace is a little bit different sometimes. Girls don't play above the rim as much as the boys, but let's be honest, most of the boys you had on that team couldn't play above the rim anyway. And so I think that those moms bought in, and I enjoyed watching that. They're like, yes, we want a woman coaching our boys. They were happy about it. And some of them were not happy that you weren't going to stick around necessarily. Um, so slight transition here. On your Instagram account, your your bio says, and I love it. Your bio says passionately sarcastic, foodie by day, hoop head by night, hopelessly optimistic. Talk to me, I talk back.
Mhm.
I love that last line. Talk to me because you listen. You do listen. And but you're making it clear that I'll have a conversation with you, but at the same time you're hitting the double meaning there that, oh, I'll talk back. I have no
Mhm.
problem saying what I want to say.
Right.
You use that in your coaching, don't you? That's kind of your personality. That sums up your coaching personality, right?
It does. It does. It does. I think, and to be honest, I don't even think I looked at it like that when I did it, but that's such an eloquent way to just sum it up. I love how you just did that.
There you go. That's what I
Um,
do.
I think that my approach to being such a passionate coach is, and this is something I discuss with my kids a lot. I think as young ladies, we're taught or, we're brought up that we have to be, you know, seen and not heard. And we have to be quiet and we have to be, just present ourselves a certain way and be nice. And I think for me, just growing up and basketball or sports period being such a huge part of my life, I think for me, it just really kind of shaped the, hey, I am a female head coach. I recognize there's not a lot of us. Um, and let's be honest, there's not a lot of you don't see a lot of black female head coaches either. And there are a certain dynamic that comes with those two things separately and collectively. And I think that it's okay to show our young ladies like, hey, you know what, you can be professional, you can be cordial, you can be respectful. However however you can also be passionate. It's okay for us to be passionate. It's okay for us to yell and jump up and down and walk up and down the sidelines and,
Yeah.
occasionally, you know, have a few choice words with the referee should it be required. And I think that kind of, that is the message that I try to send to my kids. Like, no, I'm going to ride for you 100%. I am here. I'm going to correct you in private, if it requires that. But,
Right.
in public, I got you. But at the same time, it's okay to be both. We can, for example, we dress up, um, business casual on the sidelines, during league games. And I just try to show my kids like, hey, I'm a sweats and hoodies girl. I am. That hasn't changed. As you can see, I'm gonna throw on a hoodie and some jeans and J's, and I'm gonna walk up and down the sideline. But it's also like, hey, let's show these young ladies you can dress up too. You can be, if you want to be a little bit more, girly or whatever the term for it is. But that doesn't have to change how you carry yourself, and it doesn't have to change the things that you allow. And even coming into a new program this year, I've had some conversations with my um current group of kids where I've told them, I've had a few interactions with referees where, I've been yelled at and told to sit down
Right.
or sit. And I'm like, oh, no, wait a minute, clutch the pearls. Is this what we're not? No, no, sir. No, sir. Oh, we're no, no. But I don't know. I think it's just kind of one of the things that I'm hoping that makes us a little bit more distinctive, I guess, and unique because it's we're trying to teach life lessons over here. It's not all about basketball. It's
Right.
so much bigger.
Right. Well, I think that's an excellent perspective. It is bigger than basketball. It's bigger than high school sports. And some coaches lose sight of that. And I'm not saying negative things about coaches out there, but they lose sight of we're raising young men and young women in our coaching environment. And it's actually, in my opinion, not just because I'm involved in athletics and I did it for so long, but in my opinion, when I look across the board at a high school campus, it's the most impactful thing happening outside of the classroom is when a kid plays sports. There's other things, not to take away from band, other activities, theater, whatever, but the impact a coach has in changing a life or helping grow a young child into a young adult it's different because you have that opportunity to correct quietly behind the scenes. You have that opportunity to boost them up when they need boosted up, or to celebrate with them and give accolades when it's necessary. It's an amazing opportunity, and you take it very, very well. You do it very well. Um, how about how about the idea that your hobbies? Because part of what I want to do is showcase a little bit more than just the coach on the sideline. Your hobbies include traveling, eating, and watching sports. Is there another sport? Do you watch another sport other than basketball? Are there other sports that you like out there? Or are you just a basketball person?
Um, I watch. I do watch other sports. Probably after college, I've been a fan of, or let's try to say in college, I became a fan of football. I wasn't really a fan until I started, going to the games in when I was at New Mexico State, and um, huge Baltimore Ravens fan.
So sorry.
I'm hurt. That's okay. That's okay.
No, I'm
I'm
sorry
dealing
about
with
that.
it.
You're a Ravens fan.
Um,
Yeah,
okay. Oh, you're
I'm.
you're
I'm.
a Raiders fan?
I'm a Raiders fan. Yeah, I'm a Raiders fan.
Oh, the
We're
fact that
gonna
you said that with a straight face is crazy.
proud Raiders fan for life. Anyway, all right.
You know what? No problem.
What about this traveling business? You want to tell me a little bit about that? You like traveling a lot.
I love traveling. I know as a kid, my mom was like super big on traveling. So we went to like a lot of different places that, at the time didn't really mean much to us. And we were just like, why is this lady always trying to put us in the car? And she loved to like drive. Like the car road trip was, so I'm talking like state to state. And then we crossed the state line. And what's the capital?
Yeah.
And, it's like, ma'am, I don't know. I'm asleep. But like, the Grand Canyon, we went to Yosemite every year, Reno, snowball fights, just, like the national parks. My mom just loved to drive. So, as I've gotten older, I didn't realize that it would kind of impact me so much. I remember booking a trip or trying to book a birthday trip for myself, and I was looking for a good travel agent. Couldn't find one. Could not find one to save myself. So I became one. And I was like, well, I always do all the organizing anyway, so why not? And it was probably one of the best moves that I could have made. And once you go out of the country for that first time and you experience food and people and culture, and I'm trying to go everywhere. I tell people it's a whole, I want to go, but I'm not sure. Go. It's a whole world out there. I think my last trip was 2024 was to Thailand for like 10 days. Phenomenal experience. I would go back. I would definitely go back. But I just think you have to balance it out, work hard, play hard. It kind of becomes a running joke in the program where the kids, I do a postseason travel or postseason trip. And I tell the kids, don't call me, don't text me, don't email me. I've been blinking at you guys every day for the last, yeah, sure. I'm out. I'm out. Don't ask me nothing. Don't look for me. Don't, hey, coach, where you going this year? Why you on my business? What be doing? But no, that's just kind of a passion of mine, and I feel like you have to balance it out. When you work really hard, you have to play hard and take some time away just to not be Coach Mo, but just to be Cinnamon for a while.
And that's good. I think too many of us, I'm going to throw me in there, but too many of us as coaches, we go so far all in. And the culture now, I started 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago, and the culture now is you're expected to be doing it full time. You get the same amount of stipend as you got back in when I started 2002, 2001 too. And you get the same stipend, but you're supposed to be going 24/7, 365 almost. And traditionally that was football coaches. That was the only people that went all year round, but everybody has to go year round now. So you have to stop and take a break and be the wife or the parent or be yourself for a little bit and enjoy that. I enjoy coming home and being a dad and taking those weekends from time to time. What's the most impactful part of being a high school coach for girls?
Good question. Um, I would say when you get them as freshmen, and I've been really fortunate. We were at Mayfair for I think 8 years, and we had a very low we had a very low we didn't have a lot of transfers. So most of the kids who we had, we got them as freshmen in some form or fashion in the program somewhere, and we kept them until they were seniors. And I think you get them for 4 years. So you get to see them as freshmen, and you get to see them grow and develop and build a relationship, and you just get to see how they change. And I think you also kind of get to see the light bulb come on for them, where maybe as freshmen, they're like, this lady's mean. This lady's crazy. Like, why is she always on my bumper about my grades? Why is she on my bumper about the way that I dress, about me walking around, half naked, or about being disrespectful in the classroom, or even being disrespectful at home if that, if it requires that. And I think that's one of the most impactful things we can do, is just be present and be in their lives for a long period of time, especially 14 to 18. This is probably the therapist side of me coming out, but 14 to 18, I think for our young ladies is such a crucial time. It's such a crucial time.
Yes.
Because
yes,
at 18, we're sending them out in the world to college or to get a job, and we're expecting them to learn, have these certain tools. And if they're fortunate enough where they're getting it at home, then we just become kind of extra, right? We're a bonus.
Right.
But if they're not, and let's be honest, all the kids who cross our paths, they're not fortunate enough, and they're not blessed enough to get that at home. So then we become kind of we're kind of standing in the gap, really. And I think that's the best thing that we can do, and the most impactful thing we can do, is just be present and pour into them, and then be able to, as they go through the different stages of development. Now, don't get me wrong, those hormones are something else. But I think, like, at the end of the day, when you look back at them and you get to watch them, oh, coach, I graduated from college, or, you get that graduation announcement, or, I think that's what makes it all worth it.
That's awesome. It is. I think that's the best part of being a coach, especially of the girls, is that impact and that connection you can make. And obviously, as a female coach, you get to make a little bit deeper connection than as a male coach, as I was. But that's awesome. I'm wearing my favorite shirt. I don't know if everybody can see it, but it says "Respect all, fear none." And this is, I don't know, like 2017, somewhere around there. But it's one of my favorite shirts, and I take care of it, and it's in that closet, and I wear it. And that, if I may, that seems to be kind of your overall motto as a coach going into games, going into the mentality of, we're going to be playing high-level teams, we're going to be playing some lower-level teams, we're going to be playing, not lower level as JV, but lower ability teams. It's kind of your philosophy in life as a coach, right? Is that the motto that you go by?
I think, I can't believe you still have that shirt. Actually,
I love it.
I saw the end of the letters, and I was like, is he wearing it? But I didn't get a chance to ask. But I was like, that shirt looks really familiar. I still have mine also tucked away somewhere. Obviously, I can't wear it anymore for obvious reasons. But yeah. I think that it's funny, because I just had a conversation about this last week, 2 weeks ago. We traveled out to Pomona to play one of our league opponents who, they're not very good. And I was talking to the AD about some of the stuff that, coaches have done. And I'm not a fan of it. I think that that's bigger than basketball. That's a life lesson. You know what I mean? We have an opportunity in those moments to teach our kids. Now, are there a lot of coaches out here that are run up the score? And I think I just saw one the other day or yesterday that was something outrageous. It was like 150 something to like 24. And I'm just kind of like, what are you teaching those kids in that moment? Like, what are you teaching them?
Right.
You're teaching them that it's okay for them to beat up on people, lesser than them for the sake of some record, or for the sake of some type of recognition, or for the sake of some type of personal intrinsic, award. And it's just basketball. It's not just basketball. It's not at all. And I think, if nothing else, if they even walk away with that, like, no, you know what? You can show everybody respect. You can go into every game. Like I've always told my kids, we prepare for every game the same way. I don't care if that team is 23-0 or 0-23. And it shouldn't change the way we play. It shouldn't change the way that we, prepare. It shouldn't change the way that we, that we treat the other team. Afterwards, we shake hands. We don't talk trash to the other team. We don't talk to parents. We don't talk to coaches. We don't get into it with the refs. I mean, that's my job, every now and then. Only when it's absolutely necessary. But yeah, I just think even if nothing else, if you don't learn anything else, and we can teach you that going into life, I'll take it. I'll take it because it's whether we realize it or not, they're watching, and it's.
Yeah.
I know for me, I didn't really realize that my kids were paying attention because we always feel like they're not listening, right? Why do I have to keep telling you the same thing over and over again? But to hear my kids, even in jest, crack some of the jokes that I crack or, say some of the things that I say a lot. I'm like, oh, wait, they are listening and they are. And we might be the only example of the only positive example that they get on how to treat people and how to not be a jerk. So I think that's when we put that on the shirt that year, I was just like, yeah, that's some of our kids. We don't back down from anybody, but we're going to be respectful. We're going to come in, you know, exhibit sportsmanship. We're going to carry ourselves like young ladies. We're not fighting in the stands. We're not going to other people's schools and getting into it because what somebody said on social media. Like, what? Y'all, you're arguing about what's going we're not doing this. We're not doing this. But yeah, it's worked well. I think it's been super helpful in trying to, teach the message that we're trying to teach. So, hey, if it ain't broke.
Right. Okay. Last question for you, Coach. If you could have one superhero power for a day, what would it be and why?
Um, I could have one superhero power. It would be to read minds. Because I'll be honest, sometimes I have no idea what's going on in these kids' heads. And sometimes I would just love to be like, what goes on in there? Like, what? I yell at you, I don't yell at you. That doesn't work. I make you run, I don't make you run. That does like you don't know the play. What is going on in there? I would just love to be a fly on the wall in people's brains for one day. Because I promise you, I feel like it would make so many more things make sense to me.
You would have a lot of commentary coming out of that situation. Be like, you know what I think? I know what you're thinking. Here's what my.
And could people know that I could do that? You know what I mean? Because then that's a whole thing.
Yeah,
like,
that would be a whole
know?
other. I don't know. I'm not setting up that kind of parameter. So
That'd be weird. Like if I just said exactly what, but I just for one day, I would just sit there and just listen to the conversations that people have with themselves.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. We're going to wrap it up. This is Coach Sinnamon. She used to be Coach G, but that doesn't work now. She's married. And
no. Yeah. It's Coach Mo now.
Coach Mo now. Coach Mo.
Coach Mo.
Okay.
Coach Mo.
And Coach Mo was a high school star. She was all CIF. She was a college star. She is a star on the court. She was named Coach of the Year back, what was that, 2019, when you went to the finals. But you're
I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm over
so
it.
close. You, yeah, right. You never, we never get over those losses.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
But you're a star as a person, and I appreciate you. I thank you for coming on. You know I love talking to you, and I'll come up with another topic that won't be just about basketball, that we can get on here and we can chat and get some super deep insight from you, and I'll have you back on soon.
And thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's nice to see you not just sitting at home and, you're still putting all this many, many years of sports knowledge to good use. So I love that for you.
Thank you. I really thought sitting on my lounge chair was the right idea, but my wife said no. So
I don't even think that you thought that, because you and I both know that it would have worked for 5 minutes. And then after a while, you would have just started to kind of be like, okay, well,
what am I going to do now? Yeah, I'm not that good at video games at my age. So at some point I would have been like, no, I throw the controller down, get up and go do something. So this is fun. And it's fun to sit and talk with you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I want to thank Coach Mo Sinnamon for coming by, hanging out with us, and sharing her love and passion for high school sports, basketball, and everything else. I totally appreciate it. She's a fantastic coach. If you get the opportunity to catch one of her games, go watch her coach. She coaches with class. She does get at the refs sometimes, but properly so. I want to thank everybody for listening. Please like, share, comment. I really want to get some comments and some connections out there with you. So please make sure you do that. We're anywhere you want to find your podcast, and we're on YouTube. Again, thank you, everybody, and game on, SoCal.